Chris Hensley is a registered representative of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member of FINRA SIPC, investment advisor representative of Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Houston First Financial Group are not affiliated.
The Houston Midtown chapter of the Society for Financial Awareness presents Money Matters with your host, Christopher Hensley.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Money Matters. I'm Chris Hensley on KPFT Houston. The time is now 11. I almost said 10. I'm trying to get used to the time change here. The time is now 11 a.m. Got a great show lined up for you today. We have with us Jackie Aguilera, who is with the Houston Center for Literacy, and this will be her third time joining us. She is also on the Houston Money Week leadership team, and so we will spend the next half hour visiting with her, catching up on what's going on in the adult literacy field, what's going on with Houston Center for Literacy, and also talking about Houston Money Week, which we are right here a day or so before hitting April. It's right around the corner there.
Oh, yeah, we're headed right into it, and it really is a pleasure to be back with you. So I'm looking forward to this discussion about pathways and connecting the dots.
Absolutely. I was telling you, Jackie, before we were on the air here that I usually don't have guests come back on the show. I think Rudy's maybe been on here twice. You will be the third, and then never do I have repeat guests. So it's a welcome once again, having us on the show. For listeners who aren't familiar with us, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, just so that we can get to know you a little bit better?
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it, and it kind of sets up the whole conversation with pathways. So I've been in the adult education field for quite a few years. I'm not going to get into the numbers right now, but it's been a little while. But, you know, my main dedication is because here it is. Everything that I've done in my lifetime with dealing with adult education, with retail, just the different things that have come along in life have actually been about pathways and working with ESL or GED, computer, financial literacy. Sometimes we look at those topics as separate, and yet they're all part of one complete cycle. And so that's what brings me back, and I think that's why you keep calling me back, because we can't get out of this life cycle here.
No, absolutely. I know when you first came on, you were with Eastside University, and a lot of the things that you were doing there, you can see some overlap with what you are doing now at Houston Center for Literacy. But can you tell me, I want to know more about Houston Center for Literacy. Can you tell me a little bit more about what they do, what you do, what they do, what the mission is?
Absolutely. So the Houston Center for Literacy was created under the City of Houston as the mayor's solution to the urban literacy crisis. And basically what that means is an outreach, a support system for developing the resources, information, and education that the City of Houston and Houstonians need in order to make a strong foundation and a powerful economic presence for those who need to improve lives so that the city can benefit from those productive lives. The Houston Center for Literacy is dedicated to supporting providers around the city of Houston. We have 72 different providers that are a part of our networks, and each one is dedicated to direct services to make a positive impact on cycles of illiteracy, cycles of poverty. If you take a look at some of the demographics, we have literacy deserts in parts of the city that are also economic deserts. We have many, 1 in 5 Houstonians struggle to be more than than functionally literate. 1 in 5 Houstonians are living in poverty. So we see these types of connections, and the Houston Center for Literacy has spent its time and its mission trying to support community-based organizations, to support the city's efforts in creating a more literate and a stronger, more powerful population. If you have adults that cannot read, they cannot support their children reading. We have found that, again, most of the time, those different literacy levels, the economic levels, they go hand in hand. We're teaching our children, we're helping our children, and yet they're going home to homes where they don't get the support system because parents have not had the opportunities to either, develop their literacy skills, get a GED, be able to, do something with their lives where they're actually trying to get access and, again, that pathway to a better life for themselves and their families.
Couple of different things you said there that I wanted to touch on, so when we did we'll talk about this when we get to Houston Money Week, but when we did the quadrants and we looked at the economic desert, the map, you said literacy desert. Can you tell us what that means and what you're talking about when you say that?
Again, access to services, access to, the ways that programs, information, resources. We have a lot of parts of our city where people are actually having to travel, for miles, taking buses, finding people who will help them go across the city to access a school so that they can get a GED or a certification program. There are parts of the city that they don't have an immediate presence of an adult education facility. A lot of times we talk about, get your high school diploma, go to a vocational training school, go over to a college, and here it is, we're talking about it takes money. It takes a lot of money to get these things. Well, if you have someone who's struggling, who's looking for those opportunities, and they don't have the money to access traditional routes, adult education comes in as a bridge. It is usually there for people who are at their lowest points in life, who are really in the most extreme need, and through funding, through supporters, through different donors, these organizations, these schools, these entities offer to the community opportunities for the people to increase their skills at a nominal fee. Usually it's like a registration fee, $25 versus, hundreds, thousands of dollars to get a class on GED or certification training. Again, the Texas Workforce Commission is a huge piece for adult education. We have been pathwaying ourselves as an educational unit in order to become more prevalent in the pathways to the workforce. We've always done this. It's not new, but it's connecting the dots, Chris. A lot of times, we've operated as a silo here and a silo there. We'll go over there to get a GED or go over there to learn about budgets or, different things. But here it is. It's about a cohesiveness between everything that we do. And again, looking at the Houston Center for Literacy, it's about cohesion. It's a citywide effort. It's joint partnerships between businesses, between community-based organizations, community colleges, training schools, everybody coming together in order to create this more educated workforce, which in turn will be a more empowered family and a more empowered city.
I know. So on Facebook, I'll see pictures of you a lot.
Just a few.
Just a few. And you are actually, we're not just talking about this, we're doing this because I see you in front of those classes, teaching these or giving these skills and teaching these classes. Tell us a little bit about that, kind of the practical side when you're out there at these companies, at these schools. What is that about? What is that like?
So what we've done, especially with adult ed, is, we will offer services, and of course everyone's invited to come to us. And we are seeing the shift, of course, in the course of people's living. They have less time, less availability to go all over the city and go out. So what we've begun doing is partnering directly with businesses. And this time, we're not traditionally just asking the businesses, okay, send us your employees or send us your most needy team members and let us build them. but we're actually going to employers and going on site. One of our programs, the last time I was here, I mentioned to you, was English at Work.
Right.
And that program we piloted, and it has grown exponentially in our contacts with our employers. Word of mouth, it's been such an amazing thing that has happened, because here it is, we've brought the education to the team members right in the middle of the workforce at a time when they need it, so that they can improve and find, again, pathways to better wages, pathways to being promoted, being considered for higher positions within those particular industries. We work a lot with the HR departments and their heads, because they're letting us know that without certain opportunities, these otherwise very talented, very educated, very capable team members are being stalled in the process. And, again, it's about opportunity. And I think that's where the piece between Houston Money Week and Houston Center for Literacy and all our partner agencies, where it all comes together, because it is opportunity. And whatever piece that's missing, whether that individual needs a GED, or if they need English skills, if they're lacking computer skills, if they need a certification training so that they can go out, whatever the pieces are, we're trying to line them up, give those opportunities so that they can then move forward and make those economic advantages. And then, of course, let's feed financial education in so that we can better take care of those fruits.
And that is a great transition into Houston Money Week, because we talked about, we were talking about adult literacy, and these are all things that we've kind of meshed into the financial literacy mission that is with Houston Money Week. That we even, can you tell us a little bit about, now that we're switching to Houston Money Week, there is a focus on adult literacy this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So the great thing about being a partner with Houston Money Week is the opportunity to network and explore with different agencies and businesses. We've all got this mission, this interest in empowerment. We're also, of course, trying to build our own capacity in our organizations. So teaming up with Houston Money Week allowed us to do something that we have talked about, and it really is a great connection, and that's the adult essay contest. Usually we have a traditional essay contest that, we cover the elementary school, middle school, high school, and here it is, we're talking about involving family literacy, family cohesiveness, family empowerment. So the essay contest became a way to bridge that other part of the unit that we're addressing. So we brought up questions that were given to our providers so that they could share with our adult students, and then they could respond. This year we decided to combine the same question, since it went over the generations, with dealing with how do you adjust, how do you prepare for, how do you recover from financially from a hurricane. Everyone, hurricane, it is something that changed everything about our life, our world. For some, it was the very first time they went through it. For others, it was a repeat. We have walked through this before, but here it is again, the same problems came up. Access to funds. Did we repair? Did we, have a plan? Or, did we just become, at the whim of the storm? And so again, with financial preparation, financial resources, looking at what do we need. And Houston Money Week has always been about providing resources and needs so that when situations come up, whether you're planning for them or not, you actually have a foundation. You're going to know what to do. There's no worse feeling than having some type of situation in your life and you're looking around and wondering, how am I going to get out of this? I have no money. I have no plan, no resource, and so feeling helpless. And we certainly never want to have people in those positions if we can help it. And I think, again, that's where the marriage between adult education, between Money Week, our businesses, our agencies, everything that we are charged to do as responsible organizations to the city. And that social responsibility comes in.
This is a huge time topic for Houstonians. So I know we have listeners on the podcast version of this, the international outside of Houston, but I just want to emphasize for Houstonians, for the Gulf Coast region, Harvey, the hurricane, the storm that we had, it was just, I mean, we still have communities that, I live in the Maryland area, Bel Air. I go home, and as I go down Braeswood Bayou, everything that is on adjacent to it
Right.
is being rebuilt. There are homes where you see their entire living rooms still, or drywall still on the curb, and so it really did affect this. And when you think about financial empowerment and education, having that plan B, having that safety net, that being able to have access to funds, and if emergency comes up, all of these things mesh there. So I think that's a great topic. Tell us a little bit about how that works, the actual contest part of it, because I know we have scholarships for students, for elementary and even college students, but for this one, how do they go about entering it? How do they go about participating?
Well, we went ahead and used our networks, and so as Houston Center for Literacy, as I mentioned earlier, we have over 72 partner providers, and we let all those providers know that this was an opportunity for their students to compete for a prize that would help them. The great thing about this, Chris, and I really have to thank the leadership committee and their decision making on this, is it's unrestricted funds. Again, this is, it's not a lot of money. I mean, we're talking about $250 prizes, but here it is for a family that's struggling, a family that's lost everything, a family that is looking at, $250 would just be huge. We'd have a roof over our head, or we're going to pay some bills, or, it'll give us something to step into. It could be a life changer. And this is one of the pieces that we look at is we can make small impacts that are going to have long-lasting effects. The opportunities here, of course, then on the literacy level is the real-world application of some of the skills that our adults are studying. If they're working on GED, they're looking at writing skills, they're looking at analytical skills, using prompts in order to apply resources and information. So it creates a real-world application of what's being studied. Same thing with ESL students and any adults that are in our programs, and gives them an opportunity to stop and think. A lot of times we get caught up in the studies themselves, and yet the connectivity with the real world, with our lives and the impact. And again, the underlying piece to everything we do is the economic and the financial, and knowing how to take care of those opportunities. We talk a lot about transition to employment and to the workforce. We're helping people who are overcoming generational poverty, some people who are overcoming generational unemployment, and for the first time through certification programs, through getting their GED, through getting their language skills, they're getting access to types of compensation that perhaps they've never had before. And so here it is, we have the potential to have this phenomenal growth, but at the same time we have the potential to have a phenomenal fall. And I believe that's one of the most important these steps for Houston Money Week at this time too, especially in partnership with Adult Ed, is to provide the resources, the wisdom, the plans. Now that you're making a decent wage, now that you don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs, you can work one good job. How do we help you take care of those finances, not get caught up in the irresponsible consumerism that can happen when we get so excited at seeing this wonderful paycheck? This is the most money I've ever made, and the first thing you want to do is spend, and it's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter how much you make if you don't take care of it. And that's a huge piece, I think, especially in partnership with Houston Center for Literacy and Houston Money Week now, is we're looking to our partners. We're looking for you to help us help our adults again one more time to take care of their families by teaching them how to take care of their newfound resources.
So I'm just smiling real big because everything that we just talked about is just one small branch of all of the things that we got going on in Houston Money Week, and I'm smiling because that alone is a powerful thing that we're doing there. But there's so many different organizations involved. There's so many different things going on. Let's switch a little bit and talk about something that you helped bring on, the art car parade.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I think this is a new thing for us.
Well, and I have to thank, Erica and Susan over at the Fed, because, those guys, they are the think tank, the creativity think tank. I sometimes, I wonder if, there's these magical clouds that are bursting out in the air, from those two being together. The art car parade, again, looking at what are ways that Houston Money Week can call attention to the fact that we have an empowering movement here that is all about financial education. And what is financial education but reaching out and changing families? We have to call attention to that. So the art car parade, one of my former colleagues, Alicia Proctor, and I were talking, and we said, you know what? How could we get attention for, Money Week that would be innovative and new? We've done some really great stuff, and we just started talking about the art car parade. And so she said, Jackie, I'm going to put a little proposal together and I'll give it to you, and why don't you submit it? And who knows? Well, guess what? Who knows? The leadership committee said, hey, let's do this. It's our 10th anniversary. Let's really celebrate big. And so here we come, Houston. Here comes Houston Money Week, heading around the corner with our entry for the art car parade, to really make, again, the connectivity. We're talking about financial education, but we're really talking about life and families. And here it is, one of the largest events in Houston. And to let everyone know, hey, guys, 10 years. We've been the best kept secret for 10 years. And now here we are. We're out and we're proud in the art car parade.
Tell us a little bit about the process there, because I know we are not a group of people that just throw money at something. This is more of an act of love.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about the actual process of the car itself.
Well, Ricky from Allegiance Bank has been huge. I mean, he really took the forefront of looking out and finding something that would actually be symbolic and actually put some pieces together, because, again, this is outreach and mission, And so we're going with something that will resemble piggy bank.
Yes,
we're going with our theme and looking at our nice VW Bug that was acquired in lone fields far away. And as I speak today, we have a team of people that are working on painting, gluing, glittering, making sure that this becomes a wonderful symbol that not only for the parade, but this is for the future outreach events that we do, because one of the intentions is we will have a piece to go out, go to schools, go to organizations. Now we have this outreach, literally a mobile outreach tool, so that we can call attention to the fact that, here it is. Finances are everywhere. Finances are all a part of our lives. And it is an act of love. We have done so with the most greatest intentions, that this is an investment in our next step of calling attention to everyone's empowerment issues, going back to some of the basics, a penny saved is a penny earned. And again, family from the, very basic of our smallest, youth, all the way to, our most advanced senior population. I mean, it cuts across the board. And if you look at the vehicle itself, finances is a vehicle. It's a vehicle through life. It's a pathway. It connects everything that we do. And so what better symbol than to have a nice VW Bug piggy bank showing the mobility that you can have in your life through financial responsibility.
I'm super excited to see how it turns out, because we've been getting pictures as it's been pieced together and parts together. At first I was thinking this Flintstone car with your feet, that wasn't even a floorboard, and now it's really come together and it's looking nice. So I'm excited to see what that's going to look like. Let's kind of do a high level, because I know we are on the leadership team. We're so familiar with what's going on with Houston Houston Money Week that people who haven't heard about it, can you just tell us kind of a general idea of what's going on in April? What is this about?
So Houston Money Week is an empowerment outreach event. April is National Financial Education Month, and basically it is information, resources that are free. We want the public to have access, no matter what your income, no matter where you are in the city of Houston. We are having events all over the greater Houston area. If you go to our website and look at our calendar, it is filled with events. And again, these are free events for all ages, all opportunities, whether you're trying to do credit repair or you're interested in budgeting. If you've gotten this great, wonderful new job and you want to make sure that you take care of your newfound opportunities, if you are trying to rebuild your life, if you're trying to make sure that you have a good future and you're going to invest into the next phases of life for yourself, we've got opportunities for you. These are experts in the field who are giving their time, who are giving their resources. You may at other times of the year look at these resources and wonder, oh my gosh, I could never afford that. I would love to go. I would love to get that information. Well, here is your opportunity during Houston Money Week in April to access so much information, so many experts who are volunteering their time, volunteering their services, so that we can have a more empowered and a more informed and educated community.
And I went to the website as you were talking there, HoustonMoneyWeek.org, and looked at the calendar, and sure enough, there are events all across April. As we've been building up to this, I've been logging in, and it's a slow build where it's, okay, we've got time. Now we're here. And there are so many events. You talked about different organizations. What is that? How many organizations are involved? Is it just nonprofits? What does this look like?
So we have from every sector. I mean, here it is. That's the beauty about Houston Money Week as well. You've got for-profit, nonprofit. You've got financial institutions. You have colleges. You have universities. You have faith-based. You have veterans. We have international organizations. I mean, it is a community that has come together to represent an outreach project that we want to reach everyone across languages, across economics, across the demographics of our city. And again, we're representing a picture of every part of this city that creates Houston. Houston, from the simplest groundwork all the way to the most corporate and the most advanced. We are coming together and, again, volunteering, sharing resources so that we can have a more empowered city. I mean, I just don't know how it gets any better than that. You
mentioned earlier that there was something special about this year.
Big 10.
Yeah.
We've got our 10, and it's awfully funny because here it is. Houston Money Week was born from a hurricane situation, and now here it is, we're coming out, recovery, mode, and again, this big 10th anniversary. And, I think here it is. Oftentimes, we look at, adverse circumstances. We look at challenges in life, and many times what is actually born out of those challenges. And, here it is to be celebrating 10 years at a time when our city is still in recovery, 10 years at a time where, we're looking at ourselves and going, wow, look what we've accomplished. Look what is out there to still be done. And look where we're going. We have, started with a handful of events and just a handful of organizations and a few people. And, here we are. We've grown into, where we can use up a whole room at the United Way for capacity. Yeah. At a meeting, have, 75, 100, folks that, gather together. And again, and those are just the representatives, and then we go out and we do these workshops and we do these events, and to see how we have grown in our partnerships. It's definitely a celebration. We want to look at, it's always opportunities for change and for growth, and that's just, part of life itself. And again, we go back to the pathways, and we go back to the life cycles. There's certain keys that are element there for the growth of our city, and we have to have an educated family. We have to have an empowered family, and that's going to rely on a fiscally responsible family. And again, providing access, providing resources, providing the means, and then, of course, making sure that the groundwork is laid so that we can continue to learn from each other, grow ourselves, and then, of course, become the next level, if you will, of what our intention and our mission is.
Jackie, we are right here at the end of the show.
Of course.
I would like to say for Houstonians who want to find out more, but this is actually, we've got events out in the Woodlands. We've got, so people in the Gulf Coast region who would like to find out more about these free events, how would they find out more?
So going on to our website for Houston Money Week, and if you would just Google Houston Money Week 2018.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Money Matters Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, visit us on the web at www.moneymatterspodcast.com. Drop us a line on SpeakPipe on the right-hand corner. It will receive any voicemails, questions, thoughts, concerns that you have about the show. In addition to this, we recently launched a Patreon campaign. Click on the Donate Now tab to hit the tip jar and find out what Patreon's campaign is all about.